you can get every week's videos. But I wanted to show you this. This is so super cool. Okay, so the mama bird was in here. So we're in this like this room that we keep our mower and all those things in. Okay, my husband has built, and there is this nest. Look at this. Look, this is a tarp. Okay, that's a tarp. And there's plastic. Like, look how smart this mama is. Okay, can you see that they're eggs? There are like 3 or 4 eggs, and the mama was in there when I came out here a minute ago, and like I totally freaked her out, of course. And she stayed super close to her babies and just like camped out there for a while until she made her way out. So cool, because we have this tree that's like on the other side here, and I don't know if it's this, I don't think it's this bird because the eggs look different, but there's some kind of bird that has been building a nest like 2 different times. There have been eggs in this nest, and I don't know, squirrels, other animals, I don't know, have gotten them. And so that nest is empty, and it breaks my heart. And then my husband yesterday was like, "You will not believe this nest out here." I mean, how smart is this mama? Like, squirrels don't get in here, chipmunks, I mean, I'm sure they do, but like so much harder than that tree. So smart, so wise. And it really made me think. On Slated for Grace this week, I wrote an article about 3 ways that we need to be diligent to intentionally parent our kids. And one of those big things was about protecting their minds. We need to protect our minds. Listen, guys, Jesus says, out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks. There are reference after reference in scripture about how important it is to guard what is in our minds and hearts. Because everything, good, bad, and ugly, starts in it. It starts in our mind. It starts in our heart. Think about jealousy and bitterness and rage and hatred and all of those things start here, right? Like, they become action, but they start in our brains. But so do love and joy and peace and goodness and all of those things, forgiveness, like those start in our minds too. All of that. But you have to put those things into your mind. One of the biggest intentional ways that I've been thinking about how we take care of our kids, how we raise our kids, whether they are 2 years old, 8 years old, 16 years old, is that we teach them how to monitor what they are thinking about. That is such a way to protect them. So that could look like all different kinds of things. I'm going inside. There's a wasp that's going to try to attack me. Okay. Mama bird, you can go back to your babies. Sweet mama bird. I think it's a chickadee. Is that a bird? A chickadee's a bird. That's what my husband said. It's a chickadee. It's very cute. Okay. So, but there are several ways to do this depending on what, your child is thinking about. For instance, my daughter really struggles with her thoughts at night when she's laying in bed and it's dark and her mind starts to spiral. Okay, is that anyone else? Probably. Like, if you've ever been sitting at your house, sitting in your bed, laying in your bed, going to sleep, and suddenly your mind wakes up and starts to think of all of these things like worry and anxiety provoking things. Okay, that's what happens with her. And when that happens, I say very consistently to her, "Girl, you got to lock that. You got to lock those thoughts up, and you got to throw them into the sea. You got to stop what you're thinking about, and you got to change roads. You got to change pathways. You got to you got to replace those thoughts with thoughts that are good and helpful and pure and noble." And she's like, "Mommy, I can't. They just keep sneaking back in." And I'm like, "Girl, I know, but you got to capture them." The Apostle Paul says that. He says, capture your thoughts and sure that they are obedient to Christ. Obedient to Christ means that they look like he looks like. Are they good thoughts? Are they true? Are they true thoughts? Are they loving thoughts? Are they thoughts of gratitude? Are they thoughts of forgiveness? Or are they thoughts of the opposite of those things? Okay, so that's one way that you can help your kid think through, okay, how can we replace the thoughts that are coming into your head? What are some really hard thoughts that you're having, and how can we change those? Okay, but another with my son, he struggles with things that go into his mind from friends, from video games, from things he watches on YouTube, right? So there's a lot of monitoring of that's not good for your brain. Like, we're not putting that in there, bud. And we have that conversation with him. Like, what do you feel like this is doing for you mentally? Is it putting you in a funk? Is it making you fearful? Is it making you feel like energized and like ready to fight? Like, what are these things that you're watching doing? Like, think through it. Process what it's doing for you. And he can tell you, in some instances, he can tell you, like, I feel better when I don't watch that. I can tell a difference. And of course, we can tell a difference. We can tell a difference in certain things, certain video games, certain, like, dude, we're not going there. We're not putting that stuff in our heads. Like, if you wouldn't do that to somebody in real life, then you're not going to pretend to do it, because it's not helpful. I just don't think that we really consider enough that connection between what we think and how we feel during the day. Years ago, I was having anxiety attacks. I was having a really difficult time. And one of the things that I started doing was focusing on gratitude, focusing on replacing my thoughts. When I found myself saying negative things about myself, I would turn it around and I would say, no, I'm capturing that thought. I'm not thinking that. I'm going to think the opposite. And I would tell myself, I talk to myself. You should talk to yourself. I mean, we all do talk to ourselves. That's the thing. Like, you tell yourself certain things about yourself, whether you realize it or not. Like, you have a monologue going on in your head about yourself and about your life. And if you're not careful, you will start to truly believe those things if they are lies. So you have to speak truth to yourself. This is such a big part of being intentional with our kids. It's such a huge part of watching them, paying attention to them, seeing what's going into their brains, what's going into their eyes, what's going into their ears, and not being oblivious to the fact that that has an effect on them. It has an effect on them long term, and it has an effect on them in their day. What their day is like, what they think about themselves, what they think about other people, what they worry about. So, monitoring our children's thoughts. This is the challenge. We can do that better in ourselves, and we can definitely do that better for our kids as well. So I would love if you wanted to put in the comments, like, how do you see with your kids? How do you see that you could be more intentional, or like what works for them, or what do they struggle with that maybe we can work through together? Leave that in the comment section, and subscribe to this channel, because every week we get new content on here. And feel free to visit slatedforgrace.com. Yeah. Have a great day.